Aditya, can you hear me? You're on mute.
close that. I'm gonna close that. Here's my okay. All right. Hello, everybody. Good evening. Stop hearing, Mary. All right, everybody. Welcome online and in person. Hey, David. Can you hear me? You made a scream.
We're only IT professionals, so this never works, okay? Speaking to the blue light.
Speak into the blue light. All right. Hey, Michael Sperling, mic check. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. Thank you, sir. Welcome, everybody, to October SIM meeting. We have a bunch of stuff before we get to our main event for the evening. It's going to be pretty interesting. So let me just do the honors, go through some of the real logistics pretty quick. As you know, meeting is being recorded, so feel free to stay off camera. Most of the reason we are recording these events is because, you know, we've been able to, since we went into the hybrid model, people are not able to attend the meeting. They can always log in later and, see the content or see the recording too. So it's for the benefit of the others. Tonight's agenda won't spend much time. We're just gonna kind of look at guests and new members, looking around the room. We have a couple of guests which, who, from a panel perspective, they'll come back and introduce themselves. So I'm not looking at them. Any guests in the room here? All right. Anybody online? I see Dan's folks, not them. We'll get to them. So we'll go ahead and move to the next one. A couple of quick chapter updates, program summary for 2021, some quick updates on the program, and then I'll hand it over to Dr. Dan. So tonight's sponsor is Signity. Signity is a quality assurance organization. They're based out of Philly, but they have clients all across the globe. Have a lot of shops in Asia Pac. Personally, I've worked with them. A great company to work with from a quality perspective. So thank you. I want to thank Signity for sponsoring this event. We always have sponsors across multiple events, and anybody who's interested can talk to one of our members and sponsor the next event too. I'm gonna quickly skip this and come back. Just want to highlight the board. There've been a couple of changes. As you all know, Stephanie was our vice president. She has taken on another position and moved on from Arizona. She moved to Nashville, so we made some internal mark. I still stumble upon his last name, as he does with mine. So fair game. He's our new vice president. He used to be the director of communications, which actually enabled us to bump Troy up. Thank you, Troy. It's an engagement for 3 months, but the big point obviously is the fact that board elections are coming up. Open positions will be the director of communications, and definitely we encourage all of you members to apply for that. And as you can, I'm not going to read through the slides, but essentially you can see the other members currently in the program. Big topic, membership renewals are open right now. Check your inbox for an email, and we've been sending out a communication. There are a couple of discounts available before December 31st. And as always, I tell this to my peers as CIOs, enterprise memberships, they pay for themselves. We get I got my whole team involved in SIM. I use this also as a growth opportunity for them to network, learn, and there are multiple programs available, so something to look out for. All right, 2 more months for us to go. Derek can probably answer the pet peeve night question better, but the next one is going to be in November. Hybrid model again, cloud readiness, cloud strategy. A lot of conversations, and again, we pick these topics. If you don't know, from we get feedback from the members as to what the topics in mind are. So we had conversations about budgets last month. As we get ready for AOPs and strat plans. Cloud readiness, cloud strategy, what exactly are we looking at? We're thinking of the whole world. If not anybody, the board, for any reason, they're putting the pressure on companies, organizations to look at what does the cloud model look like. We did have a conversation last month also about cloud readiness may not be always great because what is the CFO looking at, CapEx, OpEx models, and how do they come into picture and things like that. Moderated by Simon mostly, and I don't know how my name crept in there. I think I probably missed that meeting, but it'll be both of us. We'll bring others in, to have a wonderful conversation. And of course, December is going to be our pet peeve night. We still form our opinions on how we will bring that together, but we also thought that we always do a year-end kind of a annual celebration towards the end too. So, we'll tee up more discussions around that. Engagement, we also do multiple engagement. The big thing, because we're going to have a conversation on cloud strategy and so on, we'll skip the engagement piece. But as you might know, we have done chocolate events, wine events, just to kind of get the members involved more, get feedback from them, understand what exactly you guys need to hear. And we always do a couple of charity events, so stay tuned. I think Anuya will be sending out details. We're kicking off a event with St. Vincent de Paul. Might have heard about them. We work with them. St. Mary's Food Bank is another organization that we worked with. Make-A-Wish and so on. So gives an opportunity for the members to kind of give back to the community and participate in that. All right. Without much further ado, pretty excited for tonight's program. Dr. Dan is going to be leading off this. We have some excellent programs. Excellent speakers today, and I hope you all enjoy the program today. So with that, Dr. Dan.
Good evening. All right, I want to make sure, is this mic kicking in? Okay, now. You're having trouble. How about now? Nope. Now? Okay, so maybe we want to get the program up just a little bit and see if this works. Okay, so I got that. That part's working. All right, how about now? Let's see. I got a blue light. Okay, that's better, right? Okay. If I stand here? Yeah, you want this. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. So we'll have fun with this. Thank you. All right. So one of the things that's important to know is that my day job is about dealing with students. And so we wanted to begin with a couple things about what's been going on with SIM and what's going on with students and education. So we know that this has been a challenging year with this pandemic, and we know that this is only the second time this year that we've had food. And so there was a long time where we didn't serve food and we didn't serve drinks. And so that money got stored up, and we went and did a whole bunch of scholarships to help build that pipeline and help people out. So what you're going to be seeing over the next few months is we'll be coming back and we'll do one of those, either an electronic or a fake rubber check or whatever it is, and you'll get to see the 6 scholars over the next 6 months that we sponsored in addition to what we normally do. So we want to thank SIM Arizona for giving back, and I'm going to do the clappity clap thing here, okay, not near the microphone, because that makes a big difference. The other thing that we like to do is bring what we call the SIM Scholars of the Month. So that we actually have students that are actively engaging the weirdest job market I have ever seen. And some of them are I don't want to say that they're struggling, but it's just not as sticky and easy for some of the top talent that we have. So I wanted to introduce to you tonight our first SIM scholar, and there she is in the upper right corner. What we're going to do is there she is. There, you ready, Laura? Go off mute and let's say hello. And this is your opportunity to introduce yourself to people both online and in person.
Hey everybody, you can hear me, right?
Okay. Yes.
Cool. All right. My name is Laura. I'm currently projected to graduate in May 2022 from ASU. I'm majoring in computer information systems, and I'm getting a certificate in applied business data analytics. I've maintained a 3.6 GPA while being a front house manager at Chipotle Mexican Grill. And in doing this, I've been really inspired to work in team environments, and I'm really good with detail-oriented positions. And I've also gained a lot of experience with working with maximum efficiency systems and being thorough. So I'm really passionate about starting my career, and I'm really excited to meet all you guys. So I'm really, thankful to be here. So thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Laura. So tomorrow you're going to get an email from me, and one of the things that's going to be in there is her LinkedIn profile and her resume, and then you can go click and say hello and do the things that people in power have the ability to do. Okay. So with that, I have a master's student and one of our top program developers here inside of the Master of Information Systems Management. So Aditya, say hello.
Hello, am I audible?
We hear you good.
Yes, thank you. So good evening, everyone. My name is Aditya Mishra, and I'm currently pursuing my master's in Information Systems Management from WP Carey here at ASU. And I would be graduating next year in July 2022. I have around 4 years of professional work experience at BNP Paribas, where I've worked both as a business analyst and a software developer as well. My work has given me fine exposure to client and business stakeholder, team management, and consultancy. I find myself enjoying roles both of the project management and also on the consultancy side. And I'm interested in such opportunities in future. And I'm really grateful for Dr. Mazzola for inviting me to this event, and I look forward to be a part of it. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much, and thank our scholars of the month for coming. All right, excellent. And on a personal note, I want to thank you for allowing us to share a select number. I did some research today, and you might be interested to know this. So at ASU, we have a lot of tech talent programs. There's so many of them. There's some in the College of Business. There's some in the Fulton Schools of Engineering, some in joint ventures. The research we pulled today is that we're going to graduate in undergraduate, graduate certificates, master's programs, over 4,000 graduates that are IT workforce ready in May. I was going to say that number again. 4,000 graduates will be coming from our program. So when we talk about this workforce shortage, I want you to know there's a pool that's probably bigger than all of us together can consume. So the topic for tonight is about the challenges and the opportunities associated with sourcing tech talent. And I got this amazing overview, but let's just jump right in, because that's what you really care about. You've seen the headlines. They seem to be all over. Everyone's pointing out that there's just not enough talent out there, and organizations are struggling to find talent. So the news is that there's a huge demand for tech talent. I'm also seeing this. This is just a few months ago on LinkedIn. I found this fascinating. So this is a data analyst at LinkedIn looking at their job postings that they host. In other words, companies pay money for LinkedIn to put these job postings in. And over the past, from 2017 to 2021, they're seeing entry-level jobs. 60% of their postings require 3 or more years of experience. I'm going to say that again. 60% of their job postings require 3 or more years of experience for an entry-level job. Do you know what my undergraduates lack? 3 or more years of experience. And there's our other industries, and we'll send you a link in the follow-up so you can take a look at this data. One other thing that's important about SIM is that every year, for the past 42 years now, in fact, you're about to get one about the SIM IT trend study, and it's that long survey that we ask you to fill out. And we know that it's a difficult, long survey, but this has been going on for 40 some years about all of the trends that we see. And one of the questions that we ask all the time is, fundamentally, I paraphrase the research, because that's what we should, you've read a research paper, I'm going to paraphrase, what keeps them up at night? And for the past 5 years, what keeps CIOs awake at night is cybersecurity. It has been the #1 for 5 years in a row. And equally, I shouldn't say even, slightly below that, but always up there in the top 5 is the IT challenges around retention and finding the talent. We're looking at these together and saying, man, these are some really difficult things. So obviously, we've got something that we're not doing right. And whether it's the talent that we're developing is not ready for these jobs, as companies, we're looking for talent that's just something's wrong. And we're not, I don't want to tell you what I think is wrong. We're going to do research around that and try to find out what we're possibly getting wrong. And then the second thing is, what can we do about this? So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about perhaps what are we getting wrong, and then we have people here to talk about what can we do about it right now today for this current cycle that you're all facing. So looking at what we're getting wrong. As researchers, we come together and we say, are the educational institutions focusing on the right skills, right? So that would be a great question that we would ask. And so we started looking at this and doing a little bit of thinking about what do organizations really want. So we can't give them what they want if we don't know what they want. So what do we need to know about entry-level and mid-career jobs? And then maybe we take a look at the dimensions of the technical skills, but we're seeing more and more the importance of these professional or personal skills in the workplace are playing a bigger role. So this is a joint effort between the Phoenix chapter of ISACA, which is primarily concerned with cybersecurity, and SIM actually has an academic program. And you may not know this, but there are professors and researchers around the nation that are members of SIM, and we collectively get together on a monthly basis and put together joint research efforts. And one of them has to do with the cybersecurity. And so the goals of this particular research project is to inform the public as to what's going on, inform students, job applicants, what do you need to do to be ready? Also taking a look at the hiring organizations. And maybe we can direct some of the educational institutions as to what are the desirable and impactful skills. I mean, it seems like it's simple, but it's not easy. If you knew how we determine what we teach in a program, it's kind of like, you don't want to know. I mean, it's kind of like what textbook is there and what does this person know how to teach, as opposed to finding out what the needs are. So that's kind of the goal. And we also wanted to make a public dashboard that was interactive and actionable, not just for researchers, but for all of you to look at. Things like this, what are they? Now that's way too complicated for me to give you a link to a dashboard and let you play around with it right now, and we're still in development. But our goal is to share this type of thing. But what we thought we would do is show you some of the questions that we were asking, and then I want to bring up someone that's working on the tool to ask what are the big takeaways. So we did a curated list with experts from ISACA to say what are the key technical skills, and we're asking organizations and people to rank what's the most desirable and how easy is it to find candidates with those desirable skills. So that's the technical list. And then we also have a professional list with things like communication, problem solving, critical thinking, emotional intelligence types of questions. And again, we're asking respondents of this survey to rank what they think are in the top 5 and how easy it is. So we're sending this survey around, and right now ISACA is doing these in their monthly meetings. SIM has been doing this in monthly meetings around the nations. We have 150 responses to date. Tomorrow, in that message, I'm going to ask you and beg you to click on that little survey link so that we can capture Phoenix's SIMs and put that in the data store. But I thought I'd bring up Chester to come up and talk about some of the early results, the things that we're seeing so far with 150. Obviously, we need more so we can be statistically, valid. But let's talk about some of the early results. Thank you, Chester. You've been working on this with us, and remember, talking to the little blue thing. So get closer to me.
Thank you for bringing me.
All right. Can you hear Chester? Okay. Yeah, okay, he should be hosting his own podcast, I know. Okay, so early results. On the entry level, so this would be your new college grad or somebody that's coming in with technically no experience required into cybersecurity, there's technical skills. What are the most desirable skills that we're seeing?
The number one skill that we saw in this category was cybersecurity frameworks. Frameworks like NIST or COBIT from ISACA, or maybe industry-specific ones like HIPAA if you're in medical.
Okay, awesome. And what other skills?
And then we also have detection tools, such as it says there, SEIM, but anything that,
there you go. it's a direction of mine.
Anything that you use to detect intrusions or other cybersecurity events.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so what did we find is the most difficult to find? What's the results showing you?
Well, the most difficult is also the most desirable. It's the frameworks.
Really?
By far, as it says.
Yes, by far. That's not, we don't have the 3 asterisks. If this was a research paper, there'd be 3 asterisks and it would be statistically significant. We need more results to make it, but it's by far.
By far.
Okay, what was the second most?
Our second was it cloud technologies, such as like AWS or Azure, et cetera.
Okay, and then what did the survey say that it was the easiest to find?
So the easiest result that we had was operating systems. That one, it's important, but there's a lot of people that know about it. You guys are doing a good job teaching that.
See, that's the implication. Thank you for the so what. There's a so what. One thing we're doing well, it has to do with operating systems. But how can something be both the most desirable and the most difficult? What does that mean? Is that a talent gap?
That, I guess that would be a good thing to call it, yes, between what's desirable and what you can't find.
You can't find, all right. So see early results, all right. So we found one. On the professional skill size, what's the most desirable things that we're seeing?
There we had critical thinking was number 1. And by far, yeah, sorry, 3 asterisks. And then second on the list was attention to detail, people who can get it right.
So that's really interesting. What's your takeaway on those 2 items there? What in terms of why those are so desirable?
Well, they want people that can think through the problems that they're going to have and make sure that they pay attention and get the results correctly.
All right, well, I would agree. All right, so what's the difficult thing to find?
Again, it matches the most desirable. It's critical thinking by far.
By far, all right.
And then second on our list is problem solving, which I assume is because they weren't able to hire enough people to pay attention to detail.
All right.
Yeah.
So what are we doing well?
And what we're getting right is teamwork.
Teamwork.
Yeah.
So what does that say to you about teamwork? Why is teamwork?
Well, teamwork, I was thinking about this, and, I mean, I think we're doing a better job. Back when I went to school, and that was like after the Civil War, we didn't do anything in teams, but kids today, my kids, did a lot of team projects, and so the kids are learning about teamwork, so that Gen Z, you've got it.
There is no doubt that, in fact, we don't teach, I don't do anything without a team project anymore. It's like pretty much the only way we do things. Okay, let's talk about early career. So early career is remind me, what are we defining early career as?
5 to 7 years experience.
Okay, 5 to 7 years experience. What are the most desirable skills for someone going into there?
This one's a big shock, but it's still cybersecurity frameworks, by far.
By far.
And then we had show up on the list cloud technologies, and what's our next one there?
Yep. So and then
and then risk assessment.
Okay. So at this point now, when we're talking moving up, the idea is we still need help with the frameworks, but now we're looking at what's with the risk assessment. What do you think that means?
I think risk assessment's just trying to determine like what risks are we taking? What risks do we want to control? How are we mitigating the risks?
And pricing them out, right?
And yeah, how much is it going to cost us if this goes south?
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. What's the most difficult to find?
Or easy? Oh no, difficult.
Difficult to find.
We're still there.
Yeah.
Okay. Cybersecurity frameworks again.
Oh man.
And cloud technologies coming in second again.
All right.
And to match the list above, risk assessment. It's kind of like everything that's desirable is difficult to find. Seems.
Yep. So this would be, this kind of a thing is saying, well, what do we need to be doing to solve this problem? If these are really true. I mean, and you're like, well, Dan, maybe we didn't need to do research to do this. Well, I'm telling you, it's not opinion anymore, where you're telling us that these are the things, and then we can bring those into the educational programs. What are we doing well? Give us some good news.
Well, this is going to kind of be hard to get your head around, because the easiest skill to find was also cybersecurity frameworks.
All right, now we have to, this doesn't make any sense. Okay, so how can it be the most desirable, the most difficult, and the easiest to find?
So here's what happened. Of our respondents so far, 70% of them said cybersecurity frameworks is important. Of those, 45% said it's difficult, but 31% said it's easy. So some people are having trouble, some people apparently have got it down.
But this still was the most desirable skill of all of the skills, was this one, and we seem to have a wide divergence on how easy it is to attract that talent.
And yet still the most difficult, even though it's also the most easy.
All right. So future research, we're going to look into this and slice this maybe by, is this opinion of people who have an opinion, or is this actually the hiring managers? And maybe we'll get another dimension on this. We don't have enough data there. But we want to, because there's a lot of people with opinions about stuff. Nod your head and say, in America today, we all have an opinion. But we want to get the opinions of those that are actually in the trenches doing the hiring too. Is it geographical? So when we get enough cities, we'll be able to do that. So that's part of why we're trying. The question was, is this geographical? And we absolutely want to look at the geography. In fact, Chester is one of our experts at putting this on a map, but we got to get enough data points to make it so we can find that out. So far we've been in Wisconsin, St. Louis, Phoenix, Tucson, and I think there's one more city, Austin. Yes, in Austin.
That's
yeah,
right.
Austin.
But
Austin, Texas.
we do have responses that showed up in LA, and I don't know what that's from, but
IP addresses. Okay.
yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Could be VPN tunnels, and
All right.
yeah.
So let's move on to the professional skills here. So what are the most desirable professional skills in early career, 5 to 7 years?
So again, we're seeing critical thinking as #1 professional skill, even at 5 years. And the second, moving up to second, is the problem solving.
Problem solving. Okay. And what's the most difficult to find?
Critical thinking, but this one doesn't match because the next one is written communication.
So why do you think that this broke the pattern? What's going on with written communication? What's your assessment?
Well, I'm assuming that by the time you're 5 years in, you're probably got more responsibilities, and you're become responsible for communicating things outside of just the tech department where you all speak tech to other departments that maybe don't speak tech. And so you've got to have good communication skills. But those groups, of course, are where our cybersecurity events are going to happen, is in the non-tech areas often. So you need to keep them in the loop.
So this is also very interesting. Okay, give us the final piece of good news.
Well, here, finally, problem solving. We get to solve some problem because that's easiest to find by this time. And apparently all those previous problems leads to good experience. And so we've got it. And then again, teamwork.
And teamwork. So those are positive traits that we're starting. Again, these are some early things. What's the call to action? So you've been staring at these numbers. You've been looking at all of the data, and we're trying to do some powerful things. What do you think is what you're talking to them? Go ahead, speak it.
Well, it's what you mentioned, statistical significance, right? We're looking for that. So we need more responses, more complete responses, and we're hoping for somewhere around 300 at least to get to that statistical significance.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us, and I appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, thank you, Chester.
Thank
all right,
you.
all right. It works on your phone. Okay, so we'll send you the link. This is an easy one, and we spent a significant amount of time trying to get to a short number. We know what survey fatigue looks like. okay? And it gets tiring and you just don't want to answer. So if we could get some help with that, that would be awesome. Now, I want to talk to you about opportunities. Now, we got two different buckets of opportunities to address some of the challenges we're talking about here. One is about the traditional approaches, and I've got some speakers to come up to talk about some non-traditional and some emerging approaches, something that's new here in the Valley. But let's talk about some traditional things. So one of the things that organizations can do is you can call any one of the universities, anyone that you know, anyone who's young, call me and say, we'd like to do a project. I got some data. We already did this study and we know what the answer is, but I wouldn't mind having 500 students look at this, right, and pound on it. Or maybe we could get you in front of some of our graduate programs. We've got lots of opportunities here with applied projects. What our experience has been is that organizations that participate, they get to interact with and see and kind of short circuit that interview process, find people, not have to do the resume, nod your head and say, I totally get what you're saying. If you had 5 to 10 people that were working on something that asked you questions, you're doing the give back, but you're actually improving their educational outcome. This is one simple way that you can get involved, and that's by getting them working on your projects. Avnet's done this in the past, and one of the and you gave them your I think I can say this. You just gave them all your expenses for like 5 years, and just said, what could you find? Just at every employee's expense account, and will not. We had to filter out a few of your employees' expense accounts there. But that being said, nobody here. But the thing was, they could identify like things that they saw that at one conference there was 50 people that flew into it, and the price range for the airline tickets were ridiculously varied. And we could have saved probably the cost of the event just by that was one of the feedbacks. And I know you got the data. But what you don't have is a lot of people looking at it, with kids that are young and eager, that have the like Adita. Okay, he's one of our students that could be working on something like this. Another thing that we do is internships, and internships is really, really powerful. And I know that's kind of a crazy picture, but at the same time, it's true. There's so much we can do at a university or at a school, and then there's the things that you do. And it's amazing how when I see a student interact with a business client, how their countenance changes, the cognitive aspect that they bring to it all of a sudden it becomes real. It's not something that's ephemeral, and it changes how they approach things, and they start thinking like a future IT employee. And we need help with that transition. Okay, these things are powerful, and we have tons of opportunities, and I'll help you with doing internships. I know that you were saying that you wanted to do an internship over the summer. One of the things that we see that is successfully and powerful is when you do them in batches. You bring in 10 or 50 of them, and you put them in a cohort. One of the great things about a cohort is you don't have to find 5 managers to manage 50. You put them in a team, and then you can rotate them, and they go from department or a team you rotate them through, and they become the best of the best. Or there are things that you can do. Now, why do I recommend a cohort? Well, first of all, they've been programmed. These are our kids, because I want you to think about your kids. How did you raise them? How many of you told your kid what time to get up? You fed them breakfast, you got them to school, you took them to soccer practice, band practice. Their life was programmatized. And all of a sudden they graduate and there's like no program. Put them in a program, put them in a cohort. That's how they thrive. They do things as teams, and they do things when you put a boundary around it and say, go, they're creative. Give them no boundaries and they're not as good. That's been my personal experience. And TJ can talk to this. Yes, TJ, make sure you yell really loud.
I am the product of multiple internship programs.
And which ones worked?
Oh, which one? As long as you assign a mentor, honestly. But the structured programs allowed interns to see their career path in the future. When I worked at GE, I could see somebody who was in their IT rotation program 5 years ahead of me, and then imagine what I would be doing if I were to stick with GE.
Plus, when you do a program, it's not like you need to put a burden on one person or one mentor. That can be difficult when you've got a day job and we're dealing with a pandemic and all of the things that we're doing. So anyways, we'll give you the resources that we have on internships. And also what I'm talking about is not just ASU here. We've got U of A, NAU, GCU, University of Advancing Technology, University of Phoenix. I mean, all of these organizations to some extent or another. I'm telling you, ASUs, you can get involved with over 4,000 of them. If we put all the schools together in this state, and you realize I think we've got the talent problem solved. Okay, that's my personal numbers, but there you go. Research, yes, Awesome. So for those of you online, the comment was about at CVS, they do an internship program. It's very successful, and they find that they get better employees, can easily identify them, and they stay longer. Yep. So the Bureau of Labor Statistics is talking, has numbers that say that the average person in an IT-related job, the tenure is 3 years. Yep. Okay, so what he's saying is that in Europe, they have an apprenticeship, which is distinct from an internship. And I would love to just put a pin on this. I have some experts that are going to be talking about that aspect and here in Arizona, okay? I'm not lying. Am I okay? You know you got to talk about it now. Okay. All right. Yeah. So that's come, but it's not there is a big distinction between that. Yes. Yeah. And so we definitely want to do that. So I'm talking about the traditional things that we do that we're really good at. That's easy to get involved with. An internship is an easy way to go. Now, I also get a lot of seniors. And my seniors, I get them at that critical part where they're trying to apply for jobs and they're starting that transition. And I'll tell you that one of the things that an internship can do is it does a couple things. One is it solves that 3 to 5 year a little bit. If I've got a student that's got 3 internships, that kind of solves the 3 to 5 years of experience, if we can do that. Okay, 2 internships is better. The other thing is that they typically, it's like an extended job interview, but they want you to sign them on. They're hoping to sign them on. And I coach them, try to get them to put a ring on your finger and give you upon graduation. I mean, you know, let's do it, stay there because you already know things and it makes it easier for everybody. So I'm going to encourage that this is a great way for you to do that. Plus, if they're working for your company and we're doing the big career fair thing and you put a ring on their finger, you just told them they don't have to go to the career fair. They already know where they're going. And they can graduate sooner, faster, quicker, taller, and better for you. So I'm saying it's good business to do internships. So I want to move on to research. You can sponsor research. We've got I don't know how many faculty. Our department alone in WP Carey, we've got over 50 faculty members, something like that, right? And one of the greatest things you can do is say, I got some data. I got some questions. We got the tools and the technique. Most researchers don't lack for skills. We lack for real world relevant IT data, business, things that we can bring problems to. Now I'm on a personal stump and I got the microphone so I can say this, okay? I personally think that more and more CEOs should be coming out of IT. We have all the data. We know all the interrelationships. We know more about every department than almost any other. We should be finding opportunities and business opportunities and solving problems, creating solutions and bringing them so that when you go near a meeting, they say, I want you to come in. You're going to solve me a problem. And one of the ways that you can do that if you don't have the time is say, I'd like to bring you in. Come on in. I'll give you access to some data. Here's the kind of questions that we got. And let our world-class researchers take a look using their tools and their techniques. And this is easy to do. Again, just another opportunity that you can do. Plus, typically what you end up with is you don't usually get just one of our world-class faculty members. They bring their graduate students and their PhD students, nod your heads, and it becomes a class project. And now you have another access to students while getting value. Because we want the talent to gravitate towards you. And wouldn't it be great to hire someone that already knows about your domain problem and all everything that you need? This is another traditional approach. We have a lot of new college grads. I mentioned this. There'll be 4,000 IT-ready new college grads. That doesn't count U of A. That's not counting any of the other schools. So this is a huge pool of talent. And within that pool, I'm sure you can find people that are specially suited for your organization. I'm convinced that if we can get somehow away from the recruiters and the other thing that happens, and this is just me talking to you to help you with this, I think that it's like you finally got a rec. Okay, by the time that rec got approved, you've dogpiled on so many requirements because you know you're not going to get another one, that these job recs that my students see and their experience, there's no correlation. I look at our internal system where we keep these, and I see job requirements that I'm like, there's not a college student alive that's with a 5-year degree that would have this, and so they won't apply. And you're like, well, why wouldn't they apply? Because they're IT people. And what do we know about IT people? Well, I can tell you, they tend to be more risk averse than risk tolerant. They tend to be rule followers. If it says required skills and they list 10 required skills, if they don't see a 90% match, they won't apply. And now we are working on training them to do it with a 30% match. But goodness gracious, this is so easy. Why don't you just look for the coolest students that you can get, because you can teach them your problems. We've already done the job of teaching them about databases and networking and security. We've done enough. They're lifetime learners. They're learning machines. They learn at a pace that would make your head spin. We stopped learning. They've been learning since preschool. They can learn. Find someone that understands the domains that you're in, the problems that you want to do. And also, you need cool and groovy young students like this. You need people that have had nothing but the internet their whole life. They think differently than you. And I'm not saying the way you are is wrong, but let's face it, you need them. You need the way they think. They're going to be the leaders of tomorrow. Embrace them. Stop looking for a clone of yourself. You need the anti-you. We're on our way out. We need to be looking at the next generation. These are some of the greatest resources you can have. One more thing that I want to say, and this is difficult for me on a personal level, because when I talk to a lot of the students that we have, especially in the master's and PhD program, most of them are international students. They value education, and I don't even want to talk about why we don't have more domestic students getting advanced degrees. That's another day, another conversation. But here's some things that you need to be aware of. One is, beyond their incredible skills that they bring, and most of them have multiple degrees already from their home country. They're beyond educated, but they want an American degree because it has more meaning. In the US today, if you graduate, you can work in the United States for 1 year with no sponsorship. It's called optional practical training. Every international student that graduates can work in the US, and companies don't need to do anything. If you're a STEM major, which is our bucket, in other words, anyone that's doing something in science, technology, engineering, math, so that would be analytics, all of them, they get to work in the United States for 3 years. And again, the employers don't need to do nothing, other than there's a couple of requirements of you saying this job is aligned with their degree, right? If we have a job shortage, if we have this situation, it's not like they're taking jobs away from a domestic candidate. I want you to consider that you can get some amazing, loyal employees that you may decide that it's worth it to sponsor that employee. but you're not required to. And I just want you to know that the numbers here are greater than the number of domestic students, probably 60-40, okay, in terms of the graduates, so that 4,000 number that I'm talking to you about, especially in the higher and more advanced degree areas. So any questions or thoughts about this? I mean, I'm gonna get you engaged. If you've got a question, we'll get you engaged with the right people, but there is a huge talent pool. I think also you can help transform lives. So a domestic student typically is looking to change their life, an international student's trying to change their culture of their family. And it's a much bigger thing. Just something to consider. So with that, what I wanted to do now is those are the traditional things. Those are the easy things. Every university in the state of Arizona and your pet university that you came from in the United States, we all got these programs. This is easy. Pick up the phone, text someone, say, how can I do it? I'm all in. Help me with this, okay? And I'll give you some links if you want to engage locally. But what I want to do is bring in a few other people now to talk to you about some emerging things that are so brand new that not all of these programs are even you know, they're really new. The ink is fresh. Okay, so with that, I want to introduce to you someone that you might know. So David Jarvis is here. David is one of our new faculty members. In fact, professor of practice.
Still drying.
Still drying. Make sure to
partially wet.
Right there.
Partially wet.
Yes.
Still
And former CIO of Honeywell, and we're glad to bring him into our program to help out. But one of your jobs outside of teaching, and you're going to be teaching in my master's program and bringing all those great CIO skills. Thank you very much.
Starting tomorrow night.
Starting tomorrow night. Is it really tomorrow night?
It's tomorrow night.
Okay. There you go. Okay, so I guess I'll be there on campus tonight. Okay, and then you're going to introduce Raghu. Okay, sure. Okay, and so, but your other part of your job is not only teaching, but you're going to be managing some new programs. So why don't we talk about these new programs?
Okay.
And that looked like something broke.
Oh yeah.
Something broke. Oh man. Oh man. Oh no, I know what it is. See, I've there we go. Woo!
Okay.
Ooh, I'm an IT guy. Okay, you ready? There we go. That's your question.
Okay. What was on the previous slide was something called the Workforce Accelerator Program. Okay. So the gist of this is for any of you, whether you're online or here in the room, are there needs that you have that would fit any of these categories? This is only a sample, but so I'm seeing nodding in the room. So apparently, yes, there are these needs. Begin. So right here. Okay.
No, this is
I'm sorry.
See, now you introduced the program.
I'm sorry.
See?
Yes, thank you.
So if you need this, then you need
this.
the new
yes.
thing. Yes,
Okay. There we go.
Thing.
The new thing. Thank you. Okay. So what this is, it's a program under the umbrella called AZ Next. We're going to get into a little bit more detail in just a minute, but that basically sets up apprenticeship programs that was asked for a minute ago, as well as some other programs that we'll talk about here in a minute, which fall under a different umbrella, but it's all under the AZ Next, which is a collaboration under a grant that my colleague here has secured from the government and ASU.
Okay. All right. So you're president. Yeah,
Okay. So the program areas that this covers, so it's all about technical talent. It could be in the advanced manufacturing area, cybersecurity area, other information technology, could be infrastructure support, Google IT type things, as well as data analytics. The training goals of this, there's a very wide range here. This could be people who are already employed in your organizations. You want to reskill or upskill. It could be people who are coming out of community college. It could be folks who are coming out of high school. Depends on the type of jobs that you're looking for and the types of programs that we could put together working
because
in tandem with you.
I think that there's been a lot of discussion lately that some of these new IT jobs, they don't all require a 4-year degree, do they?
That is correct.
Yeah, and what can we do to prepare a high school graduate or a community college person to have a meaningful career in IT that doesn't require computer science? Okay.
Yep, yeah. So, and we'll talk about a couple of examples here in a second, but to build on Dan's point, there's a very wide aperture here for the types of skills that you may need that could start from the very lowest level, that you could take somebody out of a high school program, provide the training and move them into a role. Or you could have somebody who you've already got in your organization who may want to move up through promotion there's other programs that are higher that carry more weight and more credentials. Okay? So the targeted participants, and I want to make sure there's a fine nuance here. The targeted participants are what we'll call the underserved communities. Okay? This could be tribal organizations, could be veterans, could be incumbent workers you have already. It could be students. Right? So what we're really trying to do here is not exclude those folks who are in your organization who may already have a degree, but we're really trying to focus on diversity, equity, and inclusiveness. So by design, that's where the emphasis is going to be. If, for instance, they're coming out of a type of program, they're in high school, they're going through a program that we put together, there's no guarantee that you have to hire them, but what we're encouraging is you at least give them an interview. So when we get engaged, that they have an opportunity, as Dan was talking about, this may not be slipping the ring on their finger, but you're showing them the ring. And if they perform and they meet your qualifications, the ones that we work out together, then you have an employee who can slide right into the organization in a role that they've already demonstrated they're capable of. So what this is it's two different components to this. It's $10 million worth of funding broken into two different categories. The first one is an $8 million grant over the next 4 years that's focused on this sustainable workforce, infrastructure development. It could be internships, right? Could be trained to hire programs, boot camps. We have flexibility in working with you to design programs that fit your needs. The other program, which has been going for about a year now, is funded at a $2 million level, and that's really focused on the question was asked earlier about apprenticeships. There's a couple of different types of apprenticeships, but they fall in the 2,000 hour range if you're thinking of the scope of what that is required. There's a registered type and an unregistered type that we could talk to you offline if you have interest in that. But these are the types of programs that, for instance, in an advanced manufacturing area, there's been discussions that we've had with local companies about building automation. That's huge now, where you're putting, whether it's HVAC, security systems, lighting, power, that they have across the country, there's a huge deficit of trained employees to be able to manage the equipment with the amount of technology that's coming into their product offerings. So we will be working with them to be able to develop a program that allows these folks to get credentialed, qualified, and then employed. Same type of arrangement. There's no guarantee of employment, but what we are wanting is that they will at least be able to get an interview at the end of the program.
So why don't you give me an example of something that maybe would be, I could do with one of these.
Okay. Okay, so one example of this is a business analyst certificate. Okay? So there's a number of different types of programs. This is a certificate program. And what we're really doing is taking folks through the basics of how to do business analytics. This is the types of criteria that come into this. Notice in that audience column, could be ASU or non-ASU folks in this one. I believe this one, Raghu, has to be senior at least? Yeah. Yeah, at least a senior
So why
in
don't
college.
we introduce Raghu and have him talk a little bit about this, okay?
Yeah. So Raghu Santanam, he is a faculty member at ASU. He's been with ASU for over 20 years. Former department chair in the IT college. And he actually is the gentleman who secured both of these grants. So, yes.
Thank you, David. And always when I come to these meetings, it's good to see alumni. So Chester, TJ, great to see you. And when our students are volunteering and being members of the community, that's a great thing for us. So thank you. Can you hear me?
Now you can, when you get your fitness, that'll be right there.
Good. All right. So on this program, there's a history behind it. So we have run a few cohorts for Cognizant Consulting, which was a train to hire program on business analysts. And the idea is about 10 weeks of training, which includes, by the way, some of you, TJ, already talked to her, and Chester, having industry experts come talk to the students. It's very important. So we do have opportunity for some of you to come, facilitate a session on a specific topic. And if you're interested, do let me know. And we do have at least 4 or 5 different slots open in this 10-week period. And these are usually evenings, 2 hours, easy to cover. So again, when we put programs like this together, the idea is, if it's an undergraduate student who's is in the senior year, and that's where you are looking for that business analyst training. This is the finishing school, right? So that is, they may be actually in a non-STEM program, but they could do this and become an IT professional, right? So we now open up pathways for even non-STEM students to get into IT career. So that's one of the goals of our program. Second, David mentioned unemployed and underemployed. How do we get them the pathway, right? So if you're underemployed, so for example, in this program, we had folks who had been in Starbucks, who had been in education as teachers, who had an undergraduate degree. They saw this as an opportunity to double their salary, but they came with rich experience in a particular sector. And that's what Cognizant liked. Right? So they got the ones who had retail experience, put them in the retail industry consulting practice, right? The one from education, put in the education practice, right? So there's opportunities for non-STEM graduates to be going through this program and doing things that are new and different. A couple of other examples, Dan? Sure. A large consulting company, and once we finalize all the deals, we will announce this, came to us and said, if you built a Salesforce developer program, and they came and gave us, here are the topics. These are the things that we cover when we hire a new computing graduate to do Salesforce development. If you did this, we will hire at least 10 at the end of this program. Can you do it? And we said yes. So that's what the grant funds us to do. So now we are working with Salesforce, putting this program together. This is going to be about 15 weeks. And this consulting company's subject matter experts are also going to be teaching side by side with ASU faculty. All right? So this program, again, we will have about 40 to 50 students in this cohort. A lot of them are going to be employed here in Phoenix. So that's how we are giving back to the Arizona economy. And that's what the federal dollars is doing for us, right? So we are bringing that money and we are actually building the economy here and keeping the IT jobs here. Right? So this is another example. Third one, tech support specialist. So one of our collaborators, that's the Gateway Community College, is currently running an IT apprenticeship program. That is IT support analyst. If any of you is interested in hiring these graduates from this particular program, let us know. And we will put them through the apprenticeship program that we have built. And that's how we can get some of the community college students land jobs in the IT professional career, right? What we do from here, Dan, and the last thing, and then we can move from here, is that in ASU, right now we are building a course, a program or a certificate in IT support, which is about 15 credits. It is in collaboration with Google. You can get those 15 credits for about $2,000 approximately, as opposed to $10,000 usually at ASU, right? And you can do that after you get your grade. So that's part of our Universal Learner program. That is, you go through the program, you finish it, you like your grade, pay the money, get the transcript, and then transfer that credit towards university. So we are lowering that access to the students, but connecting these certificates and credentials to an apprenticeship program. And that allows them to get both the work experience and the education experience. So I'm going to stop here and
No,
then we can.
no, I want to ask you some questions about this because I want to make sure that it's clear. So what you're saying is that some of these companies, they need to hire people to man these really important functions, but you don't need someone with a 4-year degree, and you don't want someone with they're not going to do this job anyways. But you're saying we can find someone that this job might be over their ski tips just enough that they're excited. It's a career path for them. And we need lots of these people, right? So we need some more of the assembly line workers in IT, right? I think our paradigm is if you work in IT, you got to be a high performer. We need all kinds. Would you agree? So you're saying this would be a Bachelor of Arts candidate, maybe, not a Bachelor of Science.
And it could be a high school graduate.
Okay, it could be a high, so someone that's not going to go to college.
Yes.
Or they're not a high candidate of success for graduating college. Because let's face it, that's not the only way to get a job. And I'm not sure that our universe is starting to think that 4 years is the only way to do it, right? And first of all, I have to shake your hand because when I first came on board with you, I was told that we would never do anything like this, and we would never do certifications, we would never do a practical training, that we could only stay in the theater. And I really am excited about these opportunities. So I believe that this is also something that President Crow is very interested in because he's trying to transform ASU from not just an organization in the higher ed, but this is like a womb to tomb. We want to do education from pre-K all the way to, in fact, we just opened up a retirement community on campus for people to live and go to school full time. This is a serious investment that we have, that we're a learning culture and we need to accept all. And in fact, our charter at ASU is we're not going to be measured by whom we exclude, which is how most universities work. We're going to be measured by whom we include. And there's enough work in IT for everyone. And we just need to make the entry points to do it. And with what do the grants enable though? That's the part that's interesting. Why a grant?
These are expensive programs to set up, right? So when I talked about the Cognizant program, it took us about $500,000 of investment to get that up and running, okay? But it was something that the employer had to put in, that investment and make that happen. What's happened now is that the federal government has given us this investment to say, well, here is a seed grant. Go and put together a workforce partnership in Arizona to make this happen. So what are the things you need? I mean, you need a good advisory board, employer partners, an ecosystem. So this is where we are working with Arizona at Work, Arizona Commerce Authority, Arizona Tech Council, and a bunch of other community organizations to both seek advice on what kinds of programs. So these are all the programs that are being set up based on the feedback we've received from the advisory boards, right? And based on the feedback you will give us after this meeting, in one-on-one conversations with us and saying, hey, you forgot about this and you need to put this program together for us, right? What we are also being responsive to say is, these things should lead to a lasting career benefit to every one of these participants, that they don't, just stay as an IT support person, but they have this career path that they can move on. So before we answer, I want to repeat the question so that people online could hear it. So your question was about, are we engaging our Title I community or underrepresented or underserved communities and young kids that might not even think of IT as a career path because they've never seen anyone that has that as a role? I can tell you that
regardless of this program, this man here has a program that TJ, in fact, was a leader in, where we go into middle schools every single year. Our department goes into middle schools and brings them in and shows them careers are possible for underprivileged and for our women and minorities, for sure, to consider that these are even possibilities. So that I know. What do you know about her question in regards to these programs?
That's a great question. And so, by the way, for 5 years now, we have run this secret code of business. That's what we call this program. This is for middle school kids. So again, as to your point, that's really the place you need to get them motivated to come to university. So what we do is we spend one whole day, and none of the faculty go teach that program. We're too old to relate to them, right? So we have TJ and others, who are in the undergraduate program. They are the volunteers, but that we mentor them on how best to put those programs together for them. And at the end of the day, they get to tour the university, but also get a taste for coding and analytics, right? So when they do that, then, and by the way, so the parents come with them and they get their own tour, but it's a motivation that has enabled us to actually continue doing this. So we have self-funded this all these years. And by the way, State Farm has donated us money to do this program. Every year we run about 4 workshops on this and work with the schools in Arizona to make that happen. So on top of it, there are multiple programs in ASU that are focused on STEM education outreach to middle schools and high schools, whether it's in cybersecurity, whether it's in biosciences, and IT, of course, and computing sciences. So we do have several other programs and we collaborate with them. And in Arizona, there's the Center for the Future of Arizona. They have funding from the Bill Gates Foundation to expand this. And we recently got a funding from Bank of America at ASU to expand our outreach to the schools so that they get trained in this technology field. So again, it requires a lot of coordination, both internally within ASU, but coordination outside of ASU. And that's the piece that the grant is enabling us to do more and more.
And one more thing, might I add, Laura, great question. The other thing that happens, and you might get mad at me, but so at ASU, it's a great filter. One of the things traditional universities do is if you can do 2 years of calculus, you go into engineering. If you can do 1 year of calculus, you can get into a Bachelor of Science degree outside of engineering. If you can do no calculus, you're going to get a Bachelor of Arts degree. Okay, and you also know that that's also a big salary difference. What we've never had is Bachelor of Arts accessible IT STEM related career field. That's what I'm excited about, is now there's a program like at Gateway Community College and places like that in these partnerships for your Bachelor of Arts candidate. They're not going to be 2 semesters of calculus, perhaps, based on circumstances, not ability, right? And we know that at a Title I school, this is going to be a challenge. How can we still get them in? How can we do that? And then get them to be a lifetime learner, maybe get them in a master's program where we get them in that career. Does that address some of your ideas? Yeah. Excellent,
Yes.
thank you.
Yeah, and by the way, we are working on putting together a new design of a degree program at the undergraduate level that enables integration of apprenticeships into a degree program. So much like in Europe, and I've been studying the European model, and UK, by the way, recently also started putting together an apprenticeship program, which has been really successful in the IT domain. So we are trying to bring something similar within ASU, and that will enable us to connect with multiple sort of majors at ASU. It doesn't have to be all IT, but you can still be doing an IT apprenticeship, get a Bachelor of Arts degree, but that then sets you up for career success. And you had a question, by the way.
I was curious because of the position that you had up there, coming out of that role yourself, is that I was surprised that there is still a large demand. So I want to be positions for that title was a
Oh, by the way, we do have another type of a tech support program that we are putting a design together with a nonprofit for each year, just on the ASU campus, they want to hire 300 support, participants or apprentices who will support the small and medium businesses in the Microsoft ecosystem, right? And the students who get hired into that will get a free tuition, right, at ASU as part of doing this apprenticeship.
All right, so we have a crazy number of programs, right? We even have something that the cybersecurity program.
I want to talk, so listening to you and Chester, this is the design process we are going through right now. We're asking our industry partners to say, what do we need to train in cybersecurity? So your research actually is helpful, but if any of you are interested in working on a cybersecurity related apprenticeship with us, David has been working with a few CISOs to figure that out. Work with us. Let's put that program together, and we're calling it CHOPS. And that's basically, you have the cybersecurity chops, right? So that's the idea.
Awesome. So just, I'm throwing you some slides. Okay, there's more programs. There's more programs. This is just a snapshot of what's being enabled, some new things. So David, since you're going to probably be the spearhead of these things moving forward, he got the money and he's got to go do. He's done. Right? We're just going to thank him and he moves on. So you own this now. Give me the takeaway. Explain to this how we can. What do we do next?
Okay. Could I throw one other thing in? Just before that was the information on these slides. There's far more programs. This is just a sample of the things that we can do. So if there's interest in this, please talk to us, because we can design things that fit what you need. These are thought starters. They're real. They're underway at different levels of design. Some are about to go live, but again, it's mainly to be a thought starter. But I'll go back to my CIO days, and that's really where we got this from. I'm driving what we're calling partner outreach for this. So it's using the network that I have with folks that I've built over my career. And so what I tell them is, it's your money. You gave it to the federal government. The government gave it back, actually to Raghu, through the grants that he secured. And then what we're saying is, let's use it. It's your money. Let's take advantage of that. Now, the beauty of this is it's going to be governed through ASU. So it's not as though we're just going to write you a check and you go off and do what you want, right? It's governed that there's a lot of requirements that we have in terms of reporting. So we got to do it on a quarterly basis. So there's some rigor around the program to make sure that we're going to be good stewards of our own money, the government's money. But what we really want to do is engage as much as we can with many of you to get those ideas that'll build into these programs. Some will be, again, different levels, certificates, degree programs, whatever. And it will allow us to continue to spread this technical knowledge. It's not just through Arizona. These can be far more than that. I think it needs to be domestic US. But we really are serious about making sure that we can take the reputation that ASU has and their brand and build it through these programs to drive through for all these levels of folks that we want to be able to bring up the technology curve.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. All right, we're excited about this. So just as a summary on this, these programs that we just talked about are specific to ASU, and it's emerging new stuff. The stuff I talked about, any university. We just want you to get to the talent. So that was the emerging things. And so the takeaways, because we need to wrap this up, okay? The takeaways. I want you to be creative. I like it when the ASU quarterback throws the football to where the receiver's going to be rather than where they are right now, okay? And you know you're gonna need more workforce. You know this is happening. We're aging, people are moving, they're leaving. We've never seen a time where people have been so mobile, and so the likelihood is that you need to stock your shelves now. You probably need to take some different risks than you have seen before. And I would even challenge the fact that it's a risk. I think we just need to open our eyes, because it's risky when you do something in business that's different than the way it was done in the past. And maybe we can help reduce some of that fear, uncertainty, and doubt that happens with that and get you some awesome candidates. I'd like you to really think about your entry-level jobs and make them sound like an entry-level job, please. Can you help me, let me help you write your job descriptions? Looking for really cool people that'll show up to work on time, okay? I can help you with that, okay? Yeah, we can, and I'll train them to not ask you what time they get to go home, okay? I already, and how much time they, vacation time, I know. I'd like you to seriously consider the idea of international talent. The pool is huge. And I don't even want to, Bipin, can I put you on the spot? Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for programs like this, right? Okay, we know that there's incredible talent. We just need to open up the eyes. If your HR department needs help, let me help you to educate them. And the rest is there. Please take the cybersecurity survey when we send it out, okay? And I think it's time for you to start. Well, yes. Mm. Mm. So learning and develop. What Bipin was saying was that when we cut learning and development, then you're not having that natural growth. Employees don't see that career path. You end up with a shortage, and the only thing you can look for is an experienced hire, a unicorn that's out there to fit a niche because you didn't develop them strategically. And yeah, I get that. And so I'm all about learning and development. I think what some of these programs are saying is, we know you can't do learning and development anymore, so outsource it to us. We're the learning experts. Let's partner with this. Let's help you to be an extension of your learning and development program. I mean, I care a great deal about executive leadership as well, and CIOs. That's my real passion in the research area. How do we get to be more executive level? And so running the Master of Information Systems Management program, we're putting a lot more into that executive decision making. But this is something for your high potentials. We'll partner with you, send 3 or 4 of your high potentials, we'll get them a master's degree, work with you as an extension for your best of the best, your new program. We're talking about doing that with a number of organizations. So we can customize things and put them in and get them a master's degree, and it's cheap for you. It's crazy cheap for you, valuable for them. Yes, Mary. Sure.
As you know, I work with middle managers and executive level managers on their leadership capabilities. The challenge is that we have so many views of some really bad habits of promoting people for their technical capabilities. Now they're in management roles and don't know how to manage a meeting, and it ends up having a downstream. We bring these kids into that environment, it's not going to work really well unless we fix that root problem. I would love to see if there's some way that what's missing in those learning and development departments is that there's no attention to leadership, no attention to management.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a difference between technical growth in a career and strategic and business and managerial growth. And you're talking to someone that's all I care about, because we're doing a disservice to our industry. I feel personally we don't do a great job. I'm concerned about us not being on the board. And I'll never forget one day someone said to me that I finally, as a CIO, I finally got a seat at the board. I finally was there. My first board meeting, I sat down, and the guy next to me slid his laptop over and said, I'm having trouble getting my email open. He said, I died 1,000 deaths because that's not why you're on the board. Yep. And so but I'm going to say that we created this. We got to fix it. The outside world isn't, but that's getting above and beyond the topics of what we're talking about here. Yeah. Well, thank you, Mary, and would love to chat some more. So, Bipin, you need to start walking up here and do that magic hook thing because we're getting close to the end, and some of those students have homework to do, right, Laura? You got, yeah, I know they yeah, all right, and yes, Mark. So I can't speak to all of them, but I can tell you that of my class, I was very, it's not, I don't have real numbers, but it's not as good. A year ago, 100% of my students had multiple offers, and I would spend hours talking to them about how to choose one over the other, okay? This year, they're struggling with even getting a call back. They do the info session, but no one's reaching out and actually calling them back. Or they got the email, can you do this coding sample? And it's like, it just kills me to write code as the next line of getting a job, as opposed to, I can teach you to code, I can't teach you to be awesome. Yeah. There's one thing I didn't hear you mention. Oh. Still a lot of ideas, this idea of 6, 7, 8 interviews. That's gotta be a problem, right? Explain that to me, 6, 7, 8 interviews. 6 or 7 interviews to get a job. Oh, yeah. I mean, this is a new thing. In the past couple of years, I've never seen that. Come on out, come on out. So again, so on the one hand, you're kind of complaining about why is a candidate getting 6 to 7 interviews. I'm also going to say, why are you demanding 6 to 7 interviews? What's going on? So sometimes I have a group of students that come from elsewhere, and to them, jobs are scarce. Everything's a competition. It's a zero-sum game. If I don't get the job, someone else will. And that's not the problem that we have here in America. Why are we acting that way? We just need to hire cool people, and we need to give them empowerment. We all know what to do. I'm thinking that as much as we're doing a great job on supply, I don't know if we're doing a great job in the hiring realm. Raghu wanted to say something. Make sure you yell really loud. So he said that last year, our ASU students, 91% got hired within 90 days. I don't think we're anywhere near that this year, but I don't know. It's just my sample size of talking to the students. I mean, why are they there? Laura's nodding her head. I can't believe she is one of my best students and is going to info sessions and not getting any interviews, okay? I mean, if it were me, I was on the 6th interview, I'd go somewhere else. I'd be wondering, what is the problem here? Pretty much. Yep, thank you. Thank you. All right, so you need to walk over. Well, I'll be honest with you. So here's the traditional model. What he was saying is that we should be looking more on the professional side and not the skills. I mean, ideally, we exist as universities that if someone graduates, that is the most unique qualification you can get for success in the modern workforce. They had, if you took that many classes, how many bosses did you have with how many different syllabuses and how many different requirements, how many impossible that work is easy compared to school. Stop filtering anymore. They're already capable. And they all want to just be part of a team. And that's the other thing. This workforce today, they just want to be loved. They just want to be part of something. They want to be included. They just want a mentor. I have students that just say, and it breaks my heart, and I don't want to embarrass anybody, but sometimes they just say, Dr. Dan, would you just be my mentor? I'm just lonely. I got no one to talk to me about this. And I don't scale that well. There's too many of them and not enough of me, but there's enough of all of us working together. I know we can make a difference on these things. And I thank you about your idea. And so I'd love to have a session on how to hire people, because I think I can help with that. But this is an us problem. Then we need to solve this together. I think that we've got talent. I don't think we have a talent problem. So that's the Mazzola hypothesis. I don't think we have a talent problem. I think we have enough talent. I think we're not matching them up.
Is there a possibility, though, that there's an expectation problem from the student's perspective, in light of the fact that the higher grades go down? They're under stress. Not necessarily outsourcing jobs, but the area. That's the reason why I was asking the question.
Yep. Yep. So if I told you that I had a lot of students that were turning down opportunities, I would agree with your assessment that students are being too selective. They don't have options to say yes or no to, okay? And I'll be honest with you, if someone asks me, what should I do? This job's $5,000 more than that one, I just roll it. I say, let's talk about compound interest, okay? $5,000 that's a non-starter, right? There are better ways to choose, but I'm concerned that students don't have something to say yes or no to. And you have shortages of employees. And so what's the deal? We've never had a bigger workforce pool, and we have such a great need, and why we're not doing the matching. I'm asking you, I'm telling you, walk over here because it's almost 8 o'clock, you know?
He's pulling me in to tell that session is ending. Just had a quick question for folks online. Do you have any questions? Didn't see any.
We don't have any in chat, but you guys can also unmute.
Anything on chat, or if you guys want to come off of mute? All right, going once, twice, thrice. All right, thank you, everybody. Thanks for coming in. Want to thank the panel once again. Definitely, as senior leaders, some great news for us. Definitely there are programs available, and SIM's responsibility is to make it available, to bring it to you guys, to have a focus of this so that you can take it and have more conversations.
No one can hear you. No one can hear you.
Oops.
Yeah, you need to get really close. Okay.
All right. As Dan says, dan.mazzola@asu.edu, an email address I've often used. I mean, I've personally benefited from being connected with Dan and some of the work that he is doing. So feel free to connect with him, engage with him, be it for students, programs, any of that, feel free to use him as a resource. So thank you all. Thanks for coming. Have a wonderful evening again.